Okay, so I have the items that I used resist on last night, also known as Resolene. And today I have my gel antique, gloves, a work surface, and a piece of old sweater. So these have dried overnight to make sure that I have given them plenty of time. So with resist we use a big gollop. Yes, gollop, it's a real word. And we apply in a circular rubbing motion. So, did I get it into every crack, every crevice, every pebbled spot? And see how you want to apply it fairly quickly in a rubbing motion. Just for the fun of it, I'll go do this part too. Excellent. So, did we see a spot? Or maybe I didn't get into every crack and crevice. So like right here, this letter, you can see that part of it's really dark. It got a lot of resist, or antique gel, and part of it over here is really light. It didn't get any down into those crevices. And that's generally better. We'll swap this out. Put my next gollop on here. While I'm thinking about it, I did this practice piece to see if the old Resolene worked. Hey, look at that. It shows up. All right. So I'm comparing two different horses with two different backgrounds. Oh, that is nice. So if we take a look at the horse's top line, I see a really dark shadow, which is created by the excess gel. And also, you can see how I've got excess on here that doesn't work out because it looks like the horse's hair is running the wrong direction. So that's okay. Get my rag back together. Quick circular motion, and you notice how more of it's soaked in one spot than another. That's something to think about too when starting to work with the Resolene. I mean the antique gel. How's this guy look? So if I were to take a corner, try to put some hair on him just a little bit with the gel, make sure everything's going in the right direction. Okay. Okay. Now I've got kind of my finger on a dry spot, and I see how it's smearing this way. I'm trying to lighten what I need to lighten. Excellent. So if you look here, you can see where these two hind legs didn't get enough resist, because now that I've applied the gel, they just blend in with the background. Here it looks like maybe there was less gel, but I think that works because that shows maybe some shadow under the neck. And here the tip of his muzzle is just slightly darker. That's okay. The tail didn't get enough resist either. See how it's darker compared to his? But, you know, you could always look at that as how much resist do I want? Is the tail the same color as the horse's body or darker? So let's pretend this is a bay with maybe a white sock, right? Darker legs, darker tail. Alright, so my personal next step when applying antique gel is, can I use it to give the horse an eye and a nostril? And maybe a lip. That's better. We'll see how that dries. Now this is the horse that I put a little effort into trying to make a nice triangular eye shape with a bump out of the leather. Not fond of how that shape is now. We'll see how it goes in another minute here. Maybe I can work it into being a little different. Okay. Other technique I'd like to show you is making sure that the low areas are really have enough antique gel in them. So other techniques work, like there's a couple posts on the Facebook group that show using a little bottle, squeeze bottle, that has the tip attached, looks like a needle, and you can use it to pour dye extremely precisely into a spot that's low, like these letters. So now, when I wipe that off, we have these letters much darker looking than that. We'll see how they dry, if it makes a nice effect also. Yeah, I'm just going to try some pushing of some antique gel into these lower spots. This is a much narrower stamp pattern. If this doesn't ever work, whether adding extra antique gel to some letters or adding it to an eye, I like Sharpies, fine tip Sharpies, for adding a little extra in. Okay. Now I'm going to not wipe and rub as hard as I've done before. And lightly rub and then try to blend the whole area. I'd call that a partial success. So for me, my next step with this part would be wait until it's dry and then come back in with that fine point Sharpie. Ooh, look at that. You can almost tell in the bottom of this letter on this practice piece that it needed some more dye, because nothing got into that one spot. Ooh, and here's a spot. So you see that light area that really sticks out like a sore thumb now? From a different angle you can't see it as much. So I make sure to put a little in there. So I think these horseshoes really show how the antique picks up the details and helps make it really stand out. So what do we think of our horses? Which background do we like and how do we like it done? I'm thinking if I took more time with this stamp to make a nicer pattern and I did it all the way around the horse, that would help the horse to pop more and really stand out from the background so that he looks even lighter and even more in the foreground. Whereas this horse, there isn't quite as sharp of a contrast, and I like a lot of contrast. Which means a lot of stamping on this one. Alright. That's all I had. I hope you had fun. And I hope you enjoy this horse's beautiful dark eye. Bye.